Hi guys, my name's Kevin, and what we're going to do today is work on this 2004 X5 BMW. Got a 3-liter engine. I bought it at an auction here a while back, and pretty sure it had a head gasket issue when I bought it. Kind of knew that going in. The radiator looked like it had, it was just a mess, but the oil was good. So I got it home and did a compression check, and that looked real good. Everything, all the compression numbers were good, but I knew I had a head gasket issue. So I pulled the head and took it down to the local machine shop. The boys down there did a leak check on it and checked for cracks, and they surfaced it, and it was about 3 thou out. So we got that head, we got a good head, all the valves, and look good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, when I did the torque check on the heads, I found that when a few of the bolts were actually pulling, they weren't torque up, they were just pulling. So I don't know if that's a common thing with BMW. I know it does happen on occasion, but I'm a total amateur, so I don't work on these BMWs that often. I do build a lot of motors, a lot of transmissions, rear ends for bunch of cars, race lemons for on the West Coast with some fellas out there, a real good bunch, and been drag racing that 65 Belvedere for about 20 years. So that's my experience. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to fix those bolt holes today, and I'm going to use Timeserts to repair those. I didn't want to pull the motor, so I built a jig to drill and tap those bolts nice and square and straight on that block, so I don't have to pull the motor out. So we're going to see how that works for me. It may go south, it may work. So that's what our video is going to be on, installing the Timeserts and the jig that I built. And because you can't buy one anywhere, you can buy a big engine plate, and that's $500 or something like that. But I didn't want that situation. I wanted to do one where I could do individual bolts. So that's what we're going to do today. Give it a shot. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll know not to do this again. Anyway, that's it. Cut one. Bye. So here is the view, the Timesert package. It comes in a little box like that with a handful of Timeserts. Of course, for a BMW, you're going to need something like this one right here, which is about a 40 millimeter Timesert. You have to buy them separate. They don't come in the pack or in the kit. And so the rest of the kit consists of a drill bit. I bought a longer one to go with it, which is this guy right here. It comes with a tap to tap for your inserts. And then it comes with a little device to countersink to where the lip of that Timesert goes in it. And then it's got a Timesert insertion tool right here. So what I do with this is I built this jig. This is the jig we were talking about in a little earlier. This section here bolts onto the head, and it'll do all 4 bolts with this setup. Even though the bolts aren't, the bolt holes aren't perfect square, they're a little rectangular. And then you slide the individual inserts in. This one is the one I use to put that guy in there. And then I put a bolt in it through that bolt hole, like that. And that centers that bolt hole on the existing hole. And then I put the other 3 bolts in and bolt it down nice and tight. So then I know I'm centered over the bolt hole. What I do then is you put the next insert in, and then you can drill the holes, and you want to be sure you drill that all the way and till that bottoms out, and mark your drill bits so you know how deep you're going. And again, this jig holds that drill all nice and straight. And then you put the 3rd insert in when you go to tap the hole. So that keeps everything nice and straight. And somewhere along the process, you countersink for your Timesert. Now this thing here is the insert for the Timesert, and it's supposed to go all the way through that Timesert and set it at the bottom. However, when you use a 40mm Timesert, the Timesert insertion tool is not long enough to do that, and I'm going to have to call the factory and see what the deal is with that. Next thing you need to know about BMW heads on these motors is, all right, so here's where we're going to start on this thing. I think I'm going to do 6 holes, the middle 6 holes on these heads. It appeared to be where I could have problems. So here we go. I'm going to put this guy on there. I've had luck with screwing them all in, even though the whole bolt holes were messed up. They still seem to screw in. And that's got me nice and centered. The machine shop did a really good job on making everything nice and tight. However, it's almost too tight. All right, we got it nice and centered now. Now we're ready to drill that first hole. Right, so here we go. We're gonna put this insert in, see if we can drill this hole. So we know we're nice and straight. Right, so now I'm going to use this little tool that puts a ridge right in there so that Timesert will fit down in that hole nice and flush. There's a lip around the top to keep it from going in too deep. So we're going to see if we can get that put in. I think I got it. This thing to tap in there. All right, I think I can take that plate off now. And I got that tap started really square. Take the tap off and clean it up, clean the hole out. And that way I can see a little bit more about what's going on with this while I'm tapping it. This thing looks really, really good. It's kind of impressive how nice and square everything works with that jig. Got to make sure you get it deep enough when you do all your measuring and how deep to drill. So your Timesert will go all the way in without bottoming out. You don't want to any kind of false torque at the bottom for your bolt. So I did all of that measuring before, so I know how deep to go with my tap and my drill bit. All right, fellas, so I forgot to turn the camera on while I was when I inserted the last Timesert. So I drilled another hole out, this one right here, and we'll show you how to insert that insert. So basically, you just screw it in. And like I said, you're supposed to actually set the Timesert in at the base of this thing with this tool that I'm screwing it in with right now. But for some reason, the insertion tool isn't long enough for these 40mm Timeserts I have. So I got to call the factory and see if there's another insertion tool that I'm supposed to use on this. All right, guys. So since last time I did some video, I went ahead and drilled all the holes for the Timeserts, and there's a little bit of a difference on 4 of the holes here on this block are set up for the dowel pins, to where you dowel the head onto the block, locate it. And so those are set up a little different. They have a different hole at the top. It's bigger, and the threads are about 6mm farther down in the block. So I couldn't use the 40mm Timeserts. So I had to order some 30mm Timeserts. And also, I was just going to repair just a select few Timeserts in the head, but I chickened out and did a little research on the Timesert website, and they said that you should really go ahead and do all of the Timeserts on all the holes on that head for some hardening issue or something like that, some thread hardening. So anyway, I went ahead and chickened out and decided to do all the holes. And anyway, 4 of the holes on that head have a little different setup, so I'll show you that. And I just bought 30mm Timeserts, and I'm putting those in those holes, and we're going to go with that. So I'll show you those. I'll show you those Timeserts. Timesert. So here you go. This is what it looks like when you put those in. So I've got the Timesert all the way screwed into this one here, you see? And the rest of them are all in. I still need to thread those down in and set them with the tool. The fixture I used to drill all of these holes in this head really did work well. Everything really felt like it went in well, nice and straight. They all look straight, and we'll find out when I go to put the head bolts in if everything's lined up right. So guys, I got all the holes drilled out, all the Timeserts put in, got the head put back on, intake, all the miscellaneous. I'm getting ready to put the spark plugs in, and also getting ready to time it. I had to put that Vanos back on. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the Timesert install with the homemade plate seemed to be a success. All the bolts were perfectly lined up, and they all just screwed right in by hand. There was no binding or having trouble getting them screwed in. So I think the plate to drill the individual bolt holes out was a success, and the Timeserts were a success too, because everything torqued down really good. So we're going to see how it runs. Bye.